Went to my friend's machine place, well, his house, but we took a brass flare fitting from a brake system and drilled it out and put the same threads in. It's permanently stuck in here though. It's a tight fit, so it's not going anywhere. But now the original nut here is going to work just fine. So the only problem, I mean, maybe you can get it out with an easy out, but I don't know. It's very tight in there. But if you ever had to change the switch, that would be the only problem. You know, I was trying to make it so that the thing would get stuck on here, if anything. But something happened to the threads because it's so thin, you know, so something happened to the outside threads where it just didn't catch quite enough, because the outside threads are not quite 7/16. And I actually put in the brake fitting and it fit in beautifully. So after drilling it out though, it kind of like warped the threads a little bit, because there's not much you can do because you have very little room for error here. And if we put a bolt, that would have been so much harder to do, number one, because of the metal. So I had bought like a different bolts and whatnot. But it was difficult, but it worked out really well in the end. Like I said, the only problem you have is if the switch goes bad, you know, but now the original nut fits fine in here. So I got a handle here so I can finally test this. And in the end, you know, this is the power in for the headlights. And then the power out gives this little tiny wire here, which it may be okay, but it's funny how they give you this fat wire in and it doesn't power anything else. It's not like it's powering 5 things. It literally only powers the headlights. So why wouldn't the output power be the same thickness? So I got a 12-gauge wire, and I'm very bad at soldering. I bought a new soldering gun too, and it's still like pretty horrible. But it's gonna hold. It's gonna be better than what that little guy was, you know. Hopefully, I could be wrong, but I sure tried my best. You know, it's not easy because I basically reused the end and opened it up. It was meant for a smaller wire on top of everything. So I spread it out and tucked it in best I could and then started soldering like crazy. So we put the heat shrink tubing, and usually that covers up everything, but no, you can still see it's a horrible solder. Oh, let's go see if it fits in the connection here. And last I looked, it doesn't actually matter, I think, which one it is. I know it was opposite of the one that was next to. So yeah, it looks like this. Looks like that. Oh, Jesus, what's wrong with me? So that one was like that. Yeah, so this one goes like that. Woohoo! And I already put it in here to see how well it fits. And you know what? I feel a lot better about that. You know what I'm saying? Thicker wire. Thicker wire, thicker wire. And it only powers that. So it's kind of a no-brainer to me. The other thing I had to do, I had to drill out that hole for the handle to fit. The 732 is just one step up. It was actually loose on the other end. Like the hole in the back was bigger, but the hole in the front here is pretty tight. But you know, that's what you got to do with this. You know, there's nothing I can do. But I tested everything. Everything seems to work. I know where everything goes, so hopefully everything goes well with all this. Just to run it by you, so we know, you know, the big wires are the headlights. This wire here powers this guy, okay, which is for the regular lights and for the dimmer, for the instrument panel lights. It also illuminates this wire here. They have a separate illumination light for the radio, but it's Ford, you know, so it's a little different, you know, 80s, you know. This one here powers. I'm sorry, this is the interior lights. This is the dashboard lights that dims. The dimmer. And if you know the Ford Customline, there's a separate, you have the light switch on this side, and then you have on this side, you have the interior light switch, and in the back where you can't even reach these fuses they're meant for this thing. So I was going to eliminate the interior light switch, and I kind of busted the thing anyway, because it's all in here. The interior light switch is all in the switch, and then you can dim it on top of that, which I believe the other one dimmed also, but it just it all takes care of it in one switch. So what's the point of having that switch with this switch, unless you didn't want a switch like this? You know what I mean? So this one here powers the interior lights. So when you put this all the way over and it goes click, this turns on the dome lights. Obviously when you open the door, it bypasses, it goes through all the switch. I got to figure that out. This one here, though, when you put power to it, when you shut it off, then it has power to the radio here. So I don't know if this is some kind of memory wire, actually, and they just do it through the headlight switch, which is kind of weird, But in a certain sense, if you don't want to have the key in the on position powering the memory, and a lot of orange wires, if they go to a radio, they are memory, So I'm probably going to power it up and see what the deal is with that. Because like I said, when you put the headlight on, then this one has power all the time. And I thought it was for backlighting, which I gather it is, but the other system could be used for that. So I don't know if it does twofold, but then it can't do twofold, because then it would just turn on the lights when you have the key off. So it's a little weird. So I'm to be honest, I'm not even sure I'm going to use these two, but they'll be readily accessible under the dashboard if I need to use them. But it's an interesting thing. It could be used to turn on a relay of some sort, perhaps. I'm not 100% sure. So there was, if I got the 70s one, it would have like 7 wires, and this one has 9, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And the other one would have had 7, because probably these two. That's my guess. But like I said, it's an interesting thing. I always think it's better to have more, because you don't know what you're ever going to do. So that's it. Basically I got to run separate power leads to all these for the fuses. Now the interior lights and the dashboard lights don't have a separate fuse like a lot of cars have, but I think it could be all incorporated in the same thing. The only thing is, what's good about a separate fuse on the dashboard lights is that that if you have a problem, the dashboard lights fuse blows, and it's nothing to do with the other lights. However, I've never seen that 5 amp fuse blow. I've seen everybody go out of their way to try to check it, but it never really goes bad. So that's that. And now I can do a little more wiring today and see what happens. I've been busy, and yes, it's complicated. It's been a better part of 2 weeks since I started the wiring, and as you can see, this is a complicated process. And I am putting on all this stuff. I got like a little thing up there, what do they call that? I'm so cold, I'm can't think. Got one down here for the directionals, and this is mostly for the lights and for the dash stuff. Gas tank is going to be up there too, because I got to put a little adapter for the ohms resistance. And now I'm trying to put different lights in the car, and you can see it's like kind of bent here, so I couldn't get the nut on. Things like that are going to be a pain. I don't know if I'm going to run into it over here. I don't think so, because this one had a nut on it. This thing almost looks like it pops out, but it doesn't. It actually is out. It's bumped out, where this one was bumped in, because it didn't really matter, because that one was it was a light switch also, but at a much smaller nut, even I guess close to that size. But I don't know. This one doesn't look like it's going to be an issue like this one. Oh, what a pain, So this thing here is backlighted, and I realize all these problems. I laid down the piece. But basically, I didn't want to hack up the original choke cable just for the plastic piece, and this one broke on me when I took it apart, which is, you know, expected. Things break. But this thing here, like this is blower, it's actually embedded in there. There's a light in the middle, so it lights up all four of these, you know. Like you can see, this is the clear thing here for the lighter, you know. And basically, when you put your headlights on, all this stuff kind of lights up, and you could see it, you know. It's kind of cool, you know. And there's a new bulb inside there. That one bulb lights up all four. And this is the aftermarket switch that I put in. Of course, it's not the same, and got to do something with that probably. This is the cruise control. Well, it's not cruise control, but it's a cruise control switch that'll turn off the torque converter clutch switch and the brake light switch, and that all worked out. I cut a piece off the end of the brake thing there, so it can hit earlier. Anyway, going back to this, so basically, you know, the other problem was being able to turn this nut, and at least now it looks like I'm just about there. If not, I can do it. And so anyway, so this to replicate this plastic stuff, I'm like, because I took the other one. This one was already broken, so I kind of just drilled it out, and it worked. It looked pretty good, and it went in, but I couldn't catch the nut, and I realized I would have had to move all that, which I could still technically do it, but I'm like, you know, but what about this one? I didn't want to hack up this one, you know, so I'm on the fence with that. So I just bought some PVC plastic pipe here, and it's 15/16 the diameter here. So this is 7/8. That's all I can get, and the 5/8 is on the inside, which is exactly what the switch is. So when you put this in with the light switch and everything, and then you crush it, it kind of goes. I might make this longer actually now that because I didn't realize what was going on until I got to that point. And so I may be able to go, not probably too terribly much. So there's some threads here. When I put this on, I might even be able to eliminate that you know, that seal there, which is meant if you're going to go against metal or something like that. I'm just trying to show, hold the phone. But I have a little bit of room. That way it'll stick out a little bit more. So I may play with the size of this. And now that I know, because I was pushing, I'm like, damn, I know I have thread sticking out, but because of the angle, I couldn't catch the nut. So, and it's one of those things because this ends up like almost being spring-loaded, and this thing is not like a button or anything, nobody's pushing it or anything like that. So like if you're able to catch a thread, it'll kind of hold it really tight, you know, because it's like spring-loaded. So I may just have to turn it by hand anyway. So if I can really push on it and get the threads and, you know, make it a little bit longer, this plastic thing, it might even look better, but I'll show you what it looks like in the end. But I've been busy at work. I actually did both of these lights, you know, the wire that comes up through here. And I wanted to put LEDs in these, but the aftermarket thing is no LEDs in it, and I don't even know where to look for them. They're kind of like specific for that thing. So I think it'll kind of look a little bit silly to have things, but the things, but maybe these two could be changed. But it's going to look so much better than it ever was, you know. So, but man, this is a lot. I'm actually adding a glove box light, a GM one, you know. And but I got to get this glove box to close. It never closed right. Somebody hacked it up, and the original one was broken. So then they put a different one in, and I'm like, I got to think about that again. I did my switch down here, and I'm wiring everything. While it's cold, I'm, you know, putting things together and crimping them and soldering them and putting the shrink tubing over it, and inside at least. So I'm probably going to redo this accelerator cable. I'm going to try to use a regular GM cable, but I'm not happy. It should have been higher, and I just used an existing hole, and I just drilled it out. That was a hole that was for this, you know. And this is, I don't even know if they sell this, but it was here. This piece was long detached, and it's messing up my whole gas thing, my whole gas pedal, you know, scenario here. So, you know, and I rewired the door pin switches. Came out great. I got it all going up to a hub over here, so that's going to turn on the thing. And now, because there was a separate light switch here for the interior lights, now this is more conventional. You're just going to go to the side, like we always know on more modern cars, and like up to the 80s. This is an 80s Ford light switch. But I'm probably going to cut this down and I can get somebody, the owner of the car is starting to experiment with, 3D printing, so he might be able to duplicate the thing off it, unless I can get it off and somehow drill it and thread it to put a stop thing in it. I'm not sure how possible that is, but we'll see. That being said, everything is pretty much set up nicely for the electric steering. Everything looks like it's going to work out very well. I haven't put it on yet. I'm very scared about soldering because despite I said I was soldering, I wasn't soldering that much because I solder very poorly. So I may have to go to a friend to help me out with that. But what do you call it? I got to solder a wire to this to make the horn contact work. Among other things, there's so much shit to do, But this is I figured they could be sold. Because if I hack this out, it's still going to say choke. And I was thinking, okay, we'll blank them out and we'll put new lines. Like, nah, this is too much. I just, I'd like to get maybe a round clear sticker that I can just put inside there that says GEN for generator or alt for alternator. That kind of thing, that's doable, So that's something I was thinking about doing for sure. And, I put, this is not how it comes. It comes just kind of like this. This is a smaller one. This is actually fucked up. Somebody returned it, and I ended up getting it from Amazon. This is the other thing I was going to put. So I'm going to put a brake light in, which he never had, because we put a proportioning valve in, but it doesn't have the thing. And I'm also trying to make the parking light come on when you pull that. So I'm going to make them both go to this switch. But as you can see, I can't have it stick out that far, and then there would be nothing to mount it to, so you got to kind of drill it out to get further in. So this is the same size as the other one. So this will be the generator light. I'll make it green for the generator light and red for the brake light. And like I said, other than putting a label on it, it would be nice. But, it's as good as it's going to get for something like this, I think. We shall see, And I actually bought an AC bracket for the thing that actually uses the power steering. It's actually meant to be used if you have a power steering and then you put it on there. I just hope that the power steering pump doesn't have to be in there, but it uses the same belt line, which is not good for the power steering and not good for the AC. So, to have it like that, but I guess they make it just in case, because they make everything for Chevy, just in case that's all you have and you want to use that, then you can use it. So I'm using it just for AC because we're going to have electric steering. So that's going to be interesting. And what else? I think that's it, and hopefully this will all work out. But I'll take more video of this when it's done. Another surprise I added. It was a little bit more money than it had to be because I had to put different spacers in. It's not cheaply made, but it's kind of weird the way it fits. I thought I needed another spacer, and then I realized this front bracket, it flexes a lot when you. This has to be up against it. And then it all straightens out. You see, they're both moving at the same time. That would straighten out anyway if I just tighten the bolt down here. There's a nut that I don't have on here, So that would all straighten out as well. But hard to tell. But it looks like the front one is lining up with that one. I could be wrong. It could be the back one, but I don't think so. It does not appear to be the back one. It appears to be... So it's almost like this bracket would have fit if I had the AC pulley in the rear, and then this one would have fit in front of that. So just for shits and giggles, so when you have this whole setup that we had on the other truck, the AC pulley was this one in the front here. And you can tell it's not even close, because this groove was actually on that pulley. That's how far forward the other bracket was. It wasn't even close. And unfortunately, it'd be too much to try to modify or whatever. But it's going to be pretty sturdy otherwise. It's going to be pretty neat in a certain sense. Oh boy. Anyway, so that's as much as it's going to go. That's the way it's going to I don't have a bolt in, so that's why it made a lot of noise. Technically, just to make it stand still. And I can try to get this nut on here. The tighter I make it, the more that'll straighten out. But ultimately, when it's all the way tight, it'll be. You don't want it at the max, but it kind of looks level there. I suppose I can move it 90 degrees, the whole thing. And if it's 90 degrees, then in this position all the way down, then this would be on this side. That might be weird, although it would probably be like here. So instead of these lines being right up, like close to the motor here, they may be coming out of here, which might actually not be so bad, depending how they're run, So, but I figured I'd set up the AC as well, instead of delaying it, because like I don't want to keep working on this car, number one. Number two, when we do get to the AC and the heat thing, which is probably not going to be, this time around, at least this bare bones system is in, and something here is figured out. We got the belt right, because that can end up taking time and just creating more hassle than what it's worth. At the same time, it's nice to have that kind of stuff taken care of, So it's like it's meant to be in this car. It's like a Chevy engine is meant to be in this car. It's very weird. It's a weird feeling, but it's kind of cool, This was a nice little bracket because it's meant to use this compressor. This compressor we have, I kind of fucked this up because these bolts here were so rotted. But, when I turn the clutch, it does work. So I don't know if the guy is going to want a new compressor or not. But I'm not using this pulley anyway, And the bearing doesn't sound bad. Nothing about it sounds really bad. So I guess it could be used. Some idiot had cut this wire here, though. That's the only bad thing. And it doesn't look like it's going to be pinched by the bracket, because I hate to keep bending it around here so much, so I can add to this like right around here, and hopefully something can be done to make this work. And but a new one is, you buy it with the kits and they end up maybe costing $75 for brand new, so it is what it is. It's not a big deal either way, but it's the sanded one is the way to go. They're really nice. I really like them. Anyway, still working on this. And it's starting to snow. Oh well. Somebody changed this guy, the seal. It's like a foam seal. It's not the greatest, but it is what it is. This one here had a whole bunch of dirt I was kicking out, and it was full of dirt for the most part, because I guess weather was getting into this little crack here. So try to put something on there, but you can tell this is probably one of the original ones, or unless they made it, maybe they made it and didn't quite reach or shrunk. Anyway, so this is the reverse light I was talking about, which I still haven't figured out how to put it on, but to me the reverse light kind of looks a little modern, but come on, hang on. Looks a little modern when it's not in use, but I was thinking of drilling a hole right in the center there. But as you can see, like the light is right in the middle. It's meant to be in the middle. And it would shine this when you hit the brake and everything. It wouldn't be really an issue as far as I'm concerned, because like a lot of new Fords have that, And I don't know, like I said, I don't know if anything else would have fit. I have no idea. That being said, see, I was saying that the light wouldn't shine through, but that's actually, I don't know if you could tell, but it's clear epoxy there. So shining a light behind this might actually light it up, in a certain sense, or just put white light through there. So I'd have to fill it with like black epoxy or something like that so the light wouldn't go through. That being said, this has been a tremendous mess, a tremendous undertaking, and it's been very fucking cold. Anyway, this is the brand of shit that I bought here. It's like a 4-inch reverse light bulb. Nice and big in that sense, So I was thinking of something where, oh boy, fucking freezing here. Fucking wind is ridiculous. Anyway, I was thinking of these, like two guys like right there, Just a thought. Really haven't figured out how I'm doing it yet, other than a switch, but I'm trying to still figure out things. And so many other things I'm tackling at once. But that's basically it. That's what I wanted to show you. There's kind of two choices there. I'll hold this with my leg, just to show you. I didn't think about this before, but okay. So you could see like the white light is shining behind, so therefore the other light would shine through undoubtedly. I can't say that I have a light like queued up to do that. Maybe I can do something. Hang on. Also, just wanted to show how bright it was from this angle, which is pretty cool. And one other thing. So I shine this LED light, and you can see it goes right through for the most part. It's shining brighter on the camera than it really is, but obviously, like I said, I'd have to fill this with like black epoxy or something like that to make it not shine. Had I known this, I would have taken just the bare piece, the bare aluminum, and try to put it on. I'm fucking scratching it up on the fucking corners. It's a poor fit, and after I have this all in, I'm really upset. I started tapping on the inside here. Paint is chipping off. Paint was already off because it was glued to the fucking old one, because I had such a hard time removing the old one, but it looks cool otherwise. But it's still, it has a space here, and it's tight here, and I can't make the space take up over on that side. So this is a thumbs down on the fit. I wish I thought about taking the piece out and making sure it fits in there, but very frustrating to say the least. Having a really rough time with this. His issue is the top piece. I had the two bottom ones in, and it seemed like it was levering in, but it couldn't have been, because I put the two bottom ones in, and I was able to slip it in from the front, because there's really no room now to slip it in from the rear. And then once I said, oh my God, I can't get this top piece in now, I put the top piece in first, and I was able to get it in. It kept getting stuck, though, on top, and it was going up because there's a rubber bushing behind it, because I guess it's, even the original one, it's meant to kind of float, but they should have gave it more room and then put, like the old one had a chrome thing that went around the outside of it to line it up, because then it doesn't have to be perfect then, So this is like a perfect fit, and it's like there is nothing perfect here, so frustrating, to say the least. And now worse news is the stupid directional light. The wire just fucking pulled out. These wires are awfully fucking cheap. I am so upset now with this. I am extremely upset. This is such bullshit. Fucking thing doesn't fit right, and it's like you can't fucking get it in to begin with. What a fucking drag. I fucking had it. Well, I got very frustrated, and but I think I kind of worked it out. It's all in. I recently bought a pair of these guys, and basically it's just tin, but it wasn't able to just move by pushing this in. It's still not perfect going around here. Like, it's not, I mean, you're gonna have the steering wheel here, and this is hard to do, and I have no steering wheel. But I had to keep bending all the way around. I was tapping it over here on the bottom because it seemed like the bottom was the big problem, but it really was a combination of everything, and I didn't quite know what to do, and I just moved it all out evenly, and it slipped right in. As far as the light was concerned, when I removed the heat shrink tape that was on it, heat shrink wrap was on it, it basically the guy didn't even fucking solder it, So I actually just reheated the solder. I put it on, put new heat shrink tube. I did not test it because then it's just too much right now. These are very, very little, and they're super bright, and this guy is super bright. You may want to even hit it with like a permanent marker. It may not be so bright because it may blind you at night, I'm thinking. But that being said, the other thing you can do is pull these out. You have to push them out. Obviously, if the connection gets fucked up, it's one thing, and I think it's doable to fix it on the car, because what I was thinking, what I would do in the future, not now, is to drill out the holes to a bigger bulb that's not so bright. They can see it, and these little tiny things, but they have them. They have arrows and stuff like that. And this is a blue light, which is similar to what they had in the 80s. They were red in the 90s, But it's fine. It's just very bright, so I don't know. So anyway, I have done a lot of work, and you know, this is unlike anything I've ever done. Number one, hang on a second, let me crawl into the dash here. This is just for the gas gauge alone, and this is that little thing, and I'm probably going to put it on top of the box with some Velcro tape. As you can see, that's the plug for the dashboard, and it's way up tucked out of the way. And for the electric steering, this is a bunch of lighting and stuff that was added on, and this is a rolled up. This is coming from the bottom. We're going to have to make some kind of panel in the future, and this is all going to be for the directional signals and for the hazards, which I'm putting in hazard lights for you. Okay, and there's 2 extra circuits going to the rear of the car. All the other wires are going to be used. I still haven't gone into the engine compartment yet, so all this is going to get buttoned up. And these are wires coming out of the engine compartment. I'm not quite sure what I was thinking, because I used some of them, and I'm like, there's some other things here. So these may have to be in the engine compartment. I just kind of threw them all together and just fished them through. So this is a huge undertaking. And also, don't forget, I have this huge space here. Like, it looks like it's so easy to work on, but don't forget, I got the electric steering that has to go in here. So it's like I had to do all this and make sure that the electric steering was going to have some room in there. And I'm not 100% sure, because you can't just put it in and take it out constantly to figure out what the hell you're doing. So and also, this is the ignition switch, which I was going to put on a separate circuit. That's why I got this big fat wire here, but I ordered some special things, because I want to cut this and then put that other little mini thing, because I don't have something for the lighter. I could, but I want a circuit for the heater, which the heater is not hooked up right now. That's the only original wiring in this car, other than the one wire that went over the top here. Because it's still intact and it goes out the car. So I believe there's one power lead that comes here, which can come from one of these wires. The thing is like the lighter circuit ends up being like with the key on. And I don't know how you like that. And the other thing is like this other thing, usually the clock goes with it. I have no constant, I don't think any of these are constant power. That's my biggest fucking issue here. So I wanted to try to do some, and I already wired this up, and I go, oh, fuck, I don't have no fuses on this. Not that I need a fuse for the thing, but I'm going to put a relay in probably. I'll see. But I have to pretty much put a relay in if I don't want the car to start in reverse and drive. If I only want it to start in park and neutral, I got to utilize that neutral safety switch that's under the car. That's going to run up to a relay, and that'll, you know, I don't need to have a separate power lead. It'll be its own power lead. So it'll be divided into 2 to turn on the relay. But the ground, if it's not grounded, the relay, then it won't transfer power. Oh, man, it is frigid cold. Anyway, so this is kind of cool what I did here. Because this guy was the light switch. That's all incorporated in this. Okay. Probably got to make a different thing here, or try to get the old one to work on that. And then this is going to be a brake light, something these cars didn't have. So I'm looking for the brake light to work when you put the brake on. Okay. And I'm also looking to, because we have the brakes that we did a couple of years ago, and it has a proportioning valve, and that when you have a failure, then that light turns on. So I bought a label maker, because where I was going yesterday, I was going crazy with all these wiring and everything, and I really know where everything is, but I kind of have to change colors here and there, so it's not as easy to pick out. So I was thinking about, labeling at least a few of them so you get the gist of where, what goes where. That's another thing. Yeah, I'm getting there. This is going to be the next thing. I bought a new lock for you, because I know your old lock was a pain in the ass to turn. And I just figured the new lock, new key, new ignition switch, new lock, among other things I got going on here. So still not quite buttoned up inside the car yet. I took apart the taillights today, and what else? I got to rewire that too, so there's a few things going on here, you know. So that's an update. Okay, I've been pretty bad at taking videos because I've probably said this in another video that it's just been hard to do both things. So now this is the end result with this the shaft here. I had a hard time thinking that the other wire that's meant for it is going to 1000% work. I think it would have, but I'm dealing with 50-year-old wire, because it's really just 50-year-old wire that was sitting on. I cleaned up that, so that's going to be fine. I'm just going to make a quick disconnect connection over here so that this can be changed without having to go through all this, So I had put the that copper-clad aluminum wire in here, and I went to my friend to have him solder it, and it fell off. So I said, fuck it. I went and I bought a base station like he had, but this one goes up to 896 degrees. And and I got the leaded solder. That's what they were saying in other, like the Jeep forums. This is actually from a Jeep. So, and I took the road because I have a very small window of opportunity here to connect on. So I went all the way on the edge. I kind of melted the plastic a little bit, to be expected. It's still fine. I tested it with with grounding it with a test light, and this is grounded and nothing else gets grounded, so that's a good thing. And I should be able to shove this wire in here. That's the thing. I wanted to like double or triple fold the wire in there, and not exactly sure how well it's going to work, but when I originally tested this wire, it didn't seem terrible. So something like this, where I'm going to push it in. And that's the thing about using the original wire, you don't have to do this then, which is kind of a good thing. And, I was torn between the two things, but I'm like, I kind of don't see it, because, the shaft comes really close to this, but I did stick a 12-gauge wire in here, and it did work without hitting it, and it's rotating together, so it's not like it's going to keep having this wear. So I put heat shrink wrap over this section, because this is where the two things meet. And when I drilled a hole through this, I realized I was hitting the original shaft. That's how far in I ended up putting it. And the other one bottoms out before it touches, but it's like not even an eighth of an inch. So that's safe in that sense. And that other thing is tapered, so it naturally wants to go down, and it totally misses it. But a skinnier wire will ensure that. And I don't know, so like this is what it goes down to, when you make decisions, sometimes you change your mind. I might take this all together apart and put this original wire back in, but I'm going to try with two hands to try to get this in. And, it's one of those things where the wire has to come up through here, and then you got to go back, and then you got to come out. So 3 wires in there. So this wire seemed a little thinner than the other wire, but it was stronger. So I hope it works, I don't know if I could just accordion a little bit of wire, and that's it, But I would still think I would want to have the quick disconnect able to be serviced and looked at and moved and tested and whatnot. The thing is, you got to have the wire sticking out here to put it in. You don't want it to fall in there too much. You kind of want to pull it all out, attach it, and then shove it all in and see what happens. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So I believe I got a decent wire in there, a decent amount of wire in there already. But just to show you, I kind of just made like a little loop. Hang on a second. So like even something like that. Take an Allen key. Sorry, hard to do this together. And I pushed it right in. So I don't know how much more I can go. I wasn't planning on that. I already done that, I think, twice. So that's more than enough. So I'm basically going to, pull it out a little bit, do the connection, and then shove it in. And hopefully the bullet connector fits. But I think that'll be, do just fine. So I might have done this in the wrong place. This is also not the right size for this wire, but it crimped on. It's just fine. Burned the hole through that, but again, it's all wire there. There's no frayed anything. It's not going anywhere. But this might be too long in the end. So I will see how much I fucked up. Let's see what happens. So that snaps in nicely. But when I push this, I don't think it's going to go this far. And it pretty much does not. And I had, oh gee. See, that's not a lot, seemingly, but I wonder if I just cut it short and then push. It's that simple. You know, do the connection over here and then take it from there. That sucks. Oh well. Alright, what I'm surmising is that perhaps I should like turn it counterclockwise so it kind of coils. I think that's the direction some of this other wire was going. This is really the shortest. I mean, other than making this shorter, which I probably should have. I didn't need to make it this long. I really didn't. So that's the other issue. Okay, obviously you can't have that wire stick all the way up. I am pushing rather hard. Okay. It's like a slight delay, but I'm sure if I put like dielectric grease on that or something, it might be just fine. Ultimately, it needs to push in. Like, I don't know if maybe it just... thing is, it only will go so far. But if we do max it out right there, I mean, the spring tension is there. So, as long as this guy didn't get bunched up in the hole, which it does not appear to be. Come on. I know I can't see with my eyes, so this is going to have to help me somehow. Yeah, it seems like the wire is just going right there. It's going right in that little archway that I made for the wire. I think I see it may be bunched up, even though at the end, but as long as it's on that side and the whole shaft can go on, you know, I don't see it being an issue. Now, number one, don't buy the Chinese one that says negative on it, because it's a piece of shit. It already busted on me because I didn't know how to use it, and I crossed it. See, this is supposed to go off, but I kind of took it apart and kind of fixed it, so I got to like hold it that way, or like push up like towards the light. If I go down, it won't work. If I go up, it'll work. Sorry, down won't work, up work. Because it doesn't. It says auto reset trip. There's no reset in there. They don't work. They're full of crap. Anyway, so this guy here, the clip that's on this should be grounded. So when I push down, yeah, see? So now, I guess this is as good as anything to clamp to. I clamped it on the thing there. And if I go this way, it's not going to work. This one should work. And it's not working. Oh, clip fell off. Okay, let's try this again. And maybe I should put the clip on here. I don't know how well this is going to work. I want to go here because I do want to test it. Yeah, so that's making contact where none of this is. So now, if I put this here, what do we say? Oh, clip came off again. Alright. Forgive the mess. That is what I'm known for. Come on. Alright, clip is on. So technically, And I know this thing is kind of fucked up because I got to kind of go the other way. If I push this all the way in, the light should go on. And it did not. Let's try under, so it's pushing. Let me put my leg on this fake power probe. Okay, this should work. Oh, wait a minute. There has to be a piece of metal that part of the horn thing is, it's just, this is a contact and this is a contact. So when I push it all together, which might be hard with one hand, come on, because this just makes the contact all the time, and when you push the horn, that's what actually, it doesn't contact all the time, but it just pushes it down all the time, and then, see, I let go, I push it, bang, it works. Awesome. So I think that's pretty good. It's going to have to do, and this thing is serviceable technically if you pull on it, to pull it out. Yeah, I could have used the original wire, just probably fine, but it's just another, you know, possible problem getting real close there and whatnot. And it was a very, let me tell you something, this wire, it didn't just strip very easily too, this is when they made real copper wire. And it wasn't so much of the wire, the copper wire. We all know the copper wire doesn't go bad. It's the insulation around it. Even though it had some kind of almost like vinyl, you know, but then it had the rope over it, which is all good for this kind of stuff, you know, but it's 50 years old. It was sitting on a shelf, you know. I only got $15 for it. I'd rather just use a regular good wire, and it should be fine. I'm going to tape this guy down just in case, you know, and wrap it here. I think it should be fine. I don't know if I put a piece of tape maybe right under there first, so that if anything gets frayed and comes down, there's no issue, you know, because we definitely don't want the horn to go off, but we want the horn to work like it would in the car. I've seen people get the electric steering put in their car, and the guy puts a button on their dashboard. Hey, you can't do anything about that. Yeah, right. So this is going to work. I believe so. We greased it, and it's a lot tighter now than it was. It was just all flopping. It still flops, but when we initially filled it, there's some grease in there. This is really not going to get a lot of thing. There's little holes there, so it got some grease. I don't see it being an issue, but it's better than that cork shit that was in here. I found that original type of bushing that was in the thing here. I just know that this welded thing is, you know, my friend didn't cut it exactly. It was a tad on the loose side. So I had to like eyeball it to make it straight. And just in case it wobbles, that cork thing is not going to be on center, and it's going to wear it out. This thing here kind of forces it to stay in center, and if anything, it'll articulate like this, I'm thinking, you know. So I really don't see it being an issue, because like I said, this thing goes all different ways. Just we haven't figured out yet if it goes inside the column there, which I believe it will just fine. But I really had to get to this step, and I'm going to test it in the car as well. So, and I just want to test it to make sure that it doesn't bind on the wire. That's all. So initially, it did move, you know. So it's possible it's slightly bunched up. But you see, there's a space. I don't know if you can see in here, but there's a space in here. And like I said, it might be bunched. I might be able to stick something in that hole there that's not sharp and just push backwards on the wire without pushing it out. And also, I put heat shrink tubing on that, so it might have impacted it just a hair, making it thicker, you know. But I just figured it would boot it out of the way. Also, it's possible that I really should have put the zip tie on the other side. I'm not 100% sure this was the right way to go. I'm going to look at it a little closer with my reading glasses on. But it might be slightly on the other side of the thing. See, it bottoms out. I've already tested it with this cover off. Sorry. With this cover off, I've already tested it. It hits there before it even hits that wire. There is a space that you probably just can't see. Come on, stop getting out of focus. So when that goes, you see that the black wire, like right, where's my finger? Right. Come on. So yeah, that black wire is right in front of it, but it's going in a little hole, but it might be a little close to, my right now, the right of the camera here. And the thing is, it would be close to the left, but it might be more natural because I did this one. See, I have the wire there, and then it zigzags on this side. I have the wire here, and then it ends up zigzagging this side, and then it may have been better to be all on one side, or at least the end here, instead of having it rapidly go over. But I don't see it being this huge deal. Yeah, it's fine. It's right in the middle, actually. The wire, which it's not red, so it's hard to see on camera, but it is right there. I'm gonna get the light to show you. This light kind of broke on me, but we might have enough light to do what we got to do. So ultimately, I kind of still like the idea that I made it extra long. Before I welded it, because I'm thinking that because now I drilled a hole through and I drilled through them both, I made that little thing. The only thing is, like in hindsight, I would actually just put that groove in there for the wire to accept it, to make a thing. So this hole that I drill here, it ends up not being sharp. See, I cleaned it all up on the outside here, but I maybe a little sharp on the inside in some places. So you just hope that it's not going to move, so it's not going to dig. Plus, I have the heat shrink tubing there, so, and it's a tougher wire. But obviously, we don't want it to snag anything. But I just don't think it's going anywhere at this point. So I'm going to tape this up. Like I said, I'm going to put tape under the connection there, just in case anything frays, comes off, on the side or something like that. It's not perfect, so, but it's actually working. And I yanked on that. That thing ain't coming off, this solder connection, even though it doesn't look the greatest, but there's a lot of surface area there for that to exist in. So, looking pretty good to me. So I put the piece of tape underneath it, and, put one piece of tape underneath it, and I wrapped everything around it, and right up to the edge there. All right, and it's funny, when I pushed that on the other shaft, now when I look at this, it felt like it was binding a little bit. It's actually perfect. So it kind of like pushed back and let it get centered. If it was poking its head out a little bit in here, I think you could see the little archway that they gave it. This couldn't have come out better as far as I'm concerned, and that is. It's right on the money. It's exactly the way it's supposed to be. It was like a delayed move, but it's perfect now. Absolutely perfect. And there's enough wire in there that if anything needed to be done, it could be done. So now I got to get this in there, get the whole directional signal thing hooked up, and hope everything goes back together like it should, and take it from there. What's of course is crazy, like I put this in and out so many times to try to figure out the depth of the bearing when I put it on the press. And I'm going to have to press this in, but there's a little divot coming out there. It's from this screw hole on the side. Okay? That had no problem before, literally because of these things. So I'm trying to put it on all different angles, and it really doesn't want to go in now. And I had got it in a million times, so I might have to be a little aggressive. It's funny how the give on that, now those things won't hit. It won't be part of it. It'll be past it. But I don't want to, I can't install it from the other side, because this is wider here. As you can see, it bellows out. That's where it lives, But, that's really something, how it's giving me hell. Between, I guess, the solder being up high there and that being up high there. I mean, the solder is way below the middle here, it was absolutely fine. So, I don't know if rust built up overnight, but it was funny because all I did was play with it and it went right in. That is so crazy. And right now, that solder connection is, it's touching on that side. And, okay, because I can see the, Gee, I hope that's not a problem for the long haul. I really hope. I'm pretty sure. I thought I tested it, though, without the wire being soldered, and it was fine. I'm going to get to work. All right, I just pushed it with all my might, and I can feel it scratching into it big time. So I'm hoping that those what do you call it, are not an issue. That would really be a bummer if it's just a matter of those. I'm more concerned about the horn thing, but I obviously don't want it to bind, you know. And it's hard to say now because I gotta like lift it up to try to see, and then I gotta turn it on the car. That's so funny. So I thought I had done this already, but I guess because it was always like just loose in there. That's very odd. Oh well, I'm going to try to get this pressed in, and I don't know if there's a way to try to just clean up the gook on there, the metal on there, so it doesn't dig in, because it's really just that. It's not really the, you know, like if it stuck out as much as the things, as the zip ties, it'd be fine, but the zip ties are way past it from what I remember, so we shall see. All right, we shall see. Okay, so there's always trials and tribulations. One thing I did not realize is that this bearing went right in. It wasn't like a press fit bearing, which is good for being able to take it apart, but I mean, I didn't have a problem pressing it because I wanted something to actually hold it in that was a little more solid, because I didn't want them to yank on the steering wheel, you know, like, you know, God forbid in an accident, you yank on it and everything goes flying. Now, that being said, I know I didn't, you know, he didn't really machine it 100% for me, because I know it wasn't on center because it was loose, and I did my best to eyeball it, and I don't know where this is going to lie, but it almost seems like the bearing needs to go on a little bit further on the shaft. It might be fine, because I kind of recall it. Now, I covered the tape up on the edge of the thing. I saw a little bit of the black, so I might be right there. I guess I should just test fit it and see what happens. The thing is, though, what I realized is that I would have no problem drilling a hole and putting 2 set screws, but because it's it's past this point, I can't really do it. I mean, I might be able to do it on this bulge, if I can somehow figure out if it's there or not. Something tells me it is bottomed out there right now, because I don't think it would have gone any further. And that being said, it may just need a little hit to go further. But then, what does that mean? It means that the shaft would need to go on, because the whole thing would come further out, and you try to hold the bearing and go through. So it may actually press in if I actually try to put a little pressure on it with the press. And I would have to support the side here and see what happens. But I'm concerned that if it's not, like 100% going around, that the scraping noise here is always going to be around on this guy. Now, you need that screw to hold down the thing, but there's a lot of metal sticking up. It's probably not needed. That being said, this is something they do for manufacturing, cheap. I could actually clean that up, weld a nut onto that, and then do it that way. It really wouldn't matter terribly much, other than this thing is holding in one of those wire loom holder things there. There's a number of things that can be done, but I guess they do it so it has the most amount of threads, But I'm sure something can be done other than this. Now, that's a little bummer. It kind of uses up some of my time now, because I'm not sure what I'm going to do, and I did want to actually hold this, so I don't know if it's something where I can put a snap ring in there, or I'm not 100% sure, even just to put one set screw, even if it's just a set screw to hold it, past, but there's no holes here. I'd have to drill a hole. know, if I cut this guy off somehow and put something you know, clog up the hole, I can possibly go pin it on an angle or something like that, just to prevent, you know, coming up in his hands, you know? Because if I was able to just push this up, which it's a lot of effort, but, you know, with everything hooked up and the directional signal, the whole thing, you know, thing in there, it's probably not going to go anywhere. But you don't want to constantly drive the car and have it, you know, click, 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 click. You kind of want it to be in there. So that's why originally I wanted the bearing in the original place, but I was worried about, you know, not being completely on center. But if you did make it so they could completely get it on center, my friend, like I said, he helps me with the machine work. It's basically free, but I don't think he puts as much effort into what he's doing and realizing that some things are, and I told him, hang off, and he goes, oh, it's not ready yet. And sure enough, we put it in, it was loose, but not loose. It was just, it wasn't that bad, but it could have been better, you know? So there was nothing I can do. It was already done. And ultimately, I don't see it being a huge issue on this particular case when all is said and done. That being said, though, this thing here is just touching, because all the other ones I did, it didn't have this small of a shaft, you know, so it's tight, you know, fitting in. So let me figure out that now. Okay, you can see where I pulled it out. That was it was pretty harsh, but I was able to just pull it right out. And there too, maybe that was going in, one of them was coming out, or just contacting several services. Like I said, I really feel it's just that divot. These two lines from the original thing, because this was a thing that would lock the steering wheel, you know, on the Toyota. So I am going to see what I can do. You know, I mean, it would have been nice to machine this down, you know, to some degree. Kind of bummed about it, because I don't know how I'm going to... I used to have a long die grinder, and that might be what I need to use if I can find it. But I don't think I have it here. I think I have it at home. And I don't even know if it's any good. I can just buy another one from Harbor Freight. But that little thing right there sticking up, it's a hell of a thing to be in the way. Right. Yep. Can't block the camera, Mike. Yeah, that guy's sticking up there. I got to do something with that. Okay, so using the honer, I really cleaned that out nice, and I'm pretty sure you can see like where the edge of the bearing is when I really set it in tight. When I hit it with a tool, it really sets itself in. It's probably not going to move. That being said, is that the same imperfection? Oh, look at that. So that little mark there, that seems like it's at the bottom. So I was thinking about putting the set screws in here, maybe, if it just had enough. Now, that being said, I don't know, that would be the bottom part. Just trying to see. I had an imperfection here. Where is it? Right there. No, it's not the same thing. Yeah, I mean, I suppose I could try to figure out where the end of that bearing is, and if I put set screws in, will it actually catch it? You know, it seems like I kind of would. I just don't know if I'd have enough room for the tool to put the tap in, you know. It seems like there's enough for the tall part, you know, the higher part that the bearing fits in, just there, and then it starts to taper right around there. Well, it's very close, but that would prevent it from moving for sure. But I was just thinking red Loctite, along with, you know, pushing it into that little groove where that round thing is. Oh, in fact, what am I talking about? I can just measure. Well, yeah, I can measure for this side, but I don't know. Like, I wanted to try to it'd be nice to put a set screw right in the middle of this oil groove that had the grease thing. It would be really interesting to put it there, you know, to be honest. interesting. Anyway, it looks like there's marks on the thing. So I was thinking about I got a plastic welder kit, and I just bought it. I was thinking about plastic welding the wire up here while it's zip tied, and then cutting the zip ties off. Then I put it in. It really didn't seem like much, but then what I did do is grind down the weld, because even though I got it down a lot where that screw is, I still have to put a screw in there, and this is still, right here where it's welded, it's higher. It's closer to the Toyota thickness than the original thickness. So that being said, that could be an issue, So, and it's really, it's not 100% on center. So that created another fucking problem. And that's why I was trying to tell my friend, this is important. He's like, you're only spinning it like one turn. It's not like you're going fast, I'm like, he doesn't understand though. Like, you can't have it hit, because especially with the horn and everything. So, and this horn contact, I just put it in, I just wrapped it in tape now, and there's a little mark on the tape. So I'm worried that it's too close for comfort, even if you just put it in. But it's totally not going to be a problem because the other one goes over this. So I'm just going to take a 1/4 inch off, and then it's going to be the whole thickness of this pipe, like extra for the horn contact. So I'm definitely going to cut like at least a 1/4 inch. This should be one of the holes for the thing there. I was thinking about putting 3 holes in this as well to hold out of the pipe. Maybe I only need to put 2, because the hole for the switch will also be there doing something, should come up to here for the most part. Now that I cut it though, I don't know, it's not going to move anymore, because it's already, the way it's set up, I have the whole rod bottomed out. So this gets bottomed out. Like, my problem is pulling the whole thing up. And pulling up on the tube is not a problem, because that's going to be bolted in with another, that guy right here. And but the thing is, it's got to be bolted to that other thing there where the horn switches, and but that's not even the issue. It's the fact that this can just slide up and off the shaft. So ultimately, if the tube is still, then you got to get this bearing to stick to the tube. So that's why I was thinking about set screws. So that's where I'm at right now. It really doesn't seem like it's too bad. So I'm pretty happy why it's coming out, and I got that thing to be almost negligible. Don't know if these things rubbing is going to be a problem. I really feel that it was just, I don't want to say temporary, but just at the time that you're putting it in, I don't really see too much of an issue, to be honest, but if they wore off and they came off, it's not a big deal. It's really just to hold the wire out of the way while the splines go in. It's just not going to be an issue, but I am thinking about putting the plastic weld on. I don't know how really good that is per se, to be 100% honest, because again, I don't want to interfere with something else, but I just assume almost now, like, do nothing, and it's been tied up in these zip ties long enough, it'll probably hold its shape. It's not even going to be an issue, the shape. It's more so just the next guy, not that I'm not going to be the next guy, but just in case somebody had to get to it and play with it. I just like the original, the idea of my the integrity of my idea to be there. Like, I don't want somebody to touch something, or even myself, because I might not remember half the shit I do, but I try to make things so that it's engineered that it won't damage itself by taking it apart, The other thing I was thinking about doing is taking the cookie disc and just cleaning up this so it's smoother, so it doesn't bind, doesn't make more lines. This was just from hitting that thing. Now it's not hitting at all, but just cleaning it up and making the diameter like slightly smaller. Of course, I can't do it where these guys are, but I don't know, I'll probably just leave it. It's probably not really an issue, to be honest. But and I was turning, because I can't turn the thing right now, there's too much tension on it, but I was turning this, and the only thing I heard was this. I can hear the paint coming off the tube, if you ever heard that kind of noise. I'm pretty sure it's just, the noise is just down there. I am a little worried about that, because it comes really close there, and it did get nipped. And I don't think a contact is showing through the tape, but it may be. if it's worth redoing the tape on that last thing I just did, but come on. Yeah, so right there, it might have wore through, and if it wore through, I'll put another tape on, but just by simply cutting literally a 1/4 inch off this, which the tube goes all the way to here, you know, maybe putting some set screws. I don't know yet, but we'll see. I'm also thinking about some kind of, no, I can't really put a muffler clamp because I'm pretty sure that tube ends up being where that is, and I was even not sure if I would have to cut that other tube because that does not fit through there. That goes literally behind, and it'll be just wedged there. So I wanted to put, it's wedged, it may not move, but also the bolts for the switch are in there. One is in that, and the other side, and that's set up already. This one, there is no hole yet. I gotta drill it. And I want to make sure it's on center because I kind of want to put it in line with this and wherever the other one is, you know, I got to put it. So I got to make a mark and all that stuff. I'm not sure though. I'm not sure where this is going to end up ending for me. And ultimately, where this one ends and where this one goes over, that's pretty much where that thing is. But it's real close, and without really, you know, trying to put it in, it may not work. There might be plenty of room to kind of play with that though, nonetheless, because technically that I didn't do the part where it turns the steering box, so it kind of should be okay. Shouldn't really be an issue. So yeah, I'm thinking of all these things, and it's a lot to think about when you're not an engineer, but you just, you know, you care just enough to hope that it's right. It's almost like the original guy, it's almost like they have some kind of imperfection on here to make that other bushing kind of hold, you know, but that was never going to hold, you know, it's funny. It's almost like there's 1, 2, like I wonder if it was held in with some kind of epoxy or something. I don't know what that would be, but it just looks like metal. So, and then I honed it, you know, technically, so I try not to go crazy. I tried not to go crazy on that hone, but yeah, ultimately that's where the bearing goes, that groove there. You see that line going around down here. So that's where I'm up against right now. I got a lot to think about, and I think I'm overdoing it a little bit, you know, like as far as putting the glue on that. I think this is all set up. I grinded down that weld. It should be enough to avoid hitting that through the hole, because it looks like the weld is very close to that hole. I got to cut this down and we'll see how it fits from there. All right, I slipped with the drill and checked the paint. Got to redo it, but I made 3 set screws, holes, and it's just above the thing. I'm going to feel better doing this, you know, and I did grind it down a little bit. It should be, you know, there should be nothing impeding it, but if there was impeding it and I had to hammer it in, it would be fine, because it would add more to, you know, my fear of it coming loose or anything like that. Not sure if I'll add any Loctite, probably not, because I do want to be able to take it out, and as much as I'd like to drill it, like I didn't want to drill it while it was, you know, in, because I didn't know. First of all, you know, I doubt I'm going to get. It's not, obviously not in the center of the bearing anyway. I did all the math. It was not working out that way, but it was above it. So I was just able to just catch them all. And they are sticking out just a little bit, so that's actually good. I mean, I can grind them down, obviously, you know, if they're an issue, but or they're pretty much, they'll shear off when I put this in, for the most part. But it's actually, no, I think that's all the way in. Yeah, because there's only 1/4 inch out of the hole, so I don't think it's an issue. But what I did is I used this guy, which went over it, and I used this guy, which went over that. Pretty much when you hear the loud ring, yeah, that's all the way in. So Just that the more I keep cleaning it with the honing tool, the looser it is. It's not that it's looser, but I mean, it was like rust and scale and an imperfect, tube that was just the way it was made back then, So, but even then, like, I had to whack it. After hitting it with that hammer, I hit it with a rubber mallet afterwards, but I did cut this down, okay? It's just not going to be an issue, Of course, those lines are actually going to be good because it'll help, keep it even more in line. But I wasn't looking, and I put the, this pipe cutter has taken a beating, and I didn't, it kind of followed its own way and started making threads. And I was like, oh no! So I went back, but still, it's going to be covered up. But the 3 set screws right here are going to really make me happy. So, not sure what kind of heads I can put. It's probably just got to be a set screw, a black set screw with an Allen key is the best bet, But yeah, I'm super happy. Oh, look at that! It actually moved. It moves rather easy. So it is what it is. But that's another reason why I want to do this. Now that being said, I could put a little drill tip in there, but the next time somebody does it, they'd have to make sure that they get it right every time. The light is not helping me, but I might do that. I might just put a little, with a smaller drill bit, put a little divot in it so that there's something for the set screws to bite into. It's not easy, but I just feel the set screws are going to be fine. It's going to be what it needs, I may drill. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm happy I did this. It's coming out good. And I think I'm going to put red Loctite. I started to try to drill, and then I backed off because then I started turning it because I just made a little divot in one, and then I'm like, oh, gee, this doesn't help. Hang on. I do this without the flash. As you can see, I was about to drill a little set hole in both of them. I started drilling one, but now the bearing is not aligned because I took it out because I go, wait a minute, because I pulled it out and slammed it in. Okay, so you see the whole bearing here and here, but the bottom one, it's not all there. And then I realized that I was going a equidistant amount away, but you can see how this guy is slanted, this way for some reason, whether it's bent or whether it's just the way it worked out. It looks like there's more meat over here and there's less meat there, or I'm not quite sure how that got fucked up, but I would have to get closer to the thing, and it's just not working out that way. Oh no! Now that I'm looking at it, it's up this way. Yeah, because this is more meat here, and this is less meat here. So this, you know what? I don't know, but it's not straight. I can almost see how it is, even though it's straight up here. The way it ends up being here is not exactly equidistant, So 2 will be holding. The third one might hold. I may grind it flat. I might grind them all flat because I don't want them to kind of peen in and then like shoehorn it out, actually. That would be sucky, but it is what it is. They're only 632s. It's probably all I need, and we'll take it from there. I'm glad I didn't go any bigger, but unfortunately, it should just catch it, Like I said, if I have to make it grind the tips flat, because sometimes they have a little point, and that point will actually help kick it out. So I got to make sure that when I tighten them, they actually tighten. It may also help just to do the other 2 first, But whereas before I would whack it in, and it would whack in. Now I can just pull it out no matter how hard I whack it in there. But so I might just put some red Loctite on the bearing and put the set screws in, and it's going to be fine. It's still going to be able to come out even though it's Loctited, in the end. Should I put blue Loctite? I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to say. It's not like it's going to be a super clean, surface. There's some metal filings in there. I rubbed them out best I could. I didn't want to put brake cleaner on it. I don't have it, but I messed up the black paint, which I already did anyway. So we'll see. I ran this rag through it, and it definitely picked up a lot of metal. So I blew it out with the air. I think it looks just fine. Yeah, one didn't come out as good, but two is better than none. In the end, it'll be fine. So I'm happy I'm doing it. So being that I was holding the camera while trying to tap it in. Now I really whacked it in, and now the bottom one is all metal. So now it's really seated, and these three are going to be fine. I'm not going to put Loctite on it now. I keep changing my mind. But, you probably use silicone too, just something just to give it a little extra bite. I don't think it's going to be an issue. Once you have the 3 set screws in there, it's going to be very hard to come out. Right there, with me hammering it in, I know, because I knew from before, I'm like, why is it not going in now? But I was holding the camera, and I wasn't getting a good whack at it, trying to let everybody see. That being said, it's in now, because it's past, it's past the bearing is past the hole. So it's not going to be an issue. And I'm not even going to drill a hole, and it'll be fine. There's no reason for it not to work now.